Have you ever felt like life isn't fair? Like the nicer you are, the more life pushes you aside? You're polite, you're kind, and you do everything right, but somehow you're still the one who ends up getting overlooked. You never feel appreciated, and you find yourself wondering if being a good person is actually holding you back. This video explores the reasons why good people fail in life and reveals the truth about why kindness gets punished and why selfishness seems to be the best way to protect yourself from being exploited by others. And by the end, you'll learn how to transform your kindness from your biggest weakness into your greatest character strength. When our parents and peers tell us to be kind or do the right thing, the psychology that comes from that conditioning becomes one of the mantras we adopt into adulthood. But this video explores why being taught to believe in the concept of good things happening to good people could be damaging our ability to believe in ourselves. Treating others how we'd like to be treated ourselves sounds like a good idea, but it doesn't always make life easier and could even hold the best of us back. There's no denying that if everyone did follow that ethos, then the world would be an amazing place for us all. But when we try to live our lives in this way, by helping others, being tolerant, and remaining patient in the face of adversity, we tend to put others before ourselves. It's fair to say, most of us believe that the good energy we put out will eventually come back around to gift us maybe 3 times stronger, or even tenfold, depending on which indoctrinated upbringing you had or karmic culture you've been involved with. Movies, stories, religious austerities, and motivational quotes all push this same idea that doing good will make good things come to you. But life isn't that fair, equal, or tidy. People will overlook your efforts and eventually take them for granted. The systems of life also reward the bold and the brave, embracing their go-getting assertiveness, not wimpish empathy and acts of subservience. If you give endlessly, without boundaries, eventually you'll inevitably get burned by stronger folk, or burnt out trying to keep up with them. Living in someone else's shadow to satisfy their needs is not really kindness. It's just another form of worship, or a way of avoiding confrontations and difficult truths. There will, of course, always be people with a tendency to take advantage of those with a kinder disposition. That's why deep down, a lot of us notice that by being good, we are often treated as a pushover by those who consider our kind nature to be a weakness or character flaw. Do you ever feel this way? It's this positive sentiment that makes us believe that our good deeds will somehow encourage the universe to magically improve our own chances in life. Yet more often than not, we can't help noticing how a lot of selfish folk, the greedy takers, seem to enjoy material gains or rare opportunities that far exceed those made available to the do-gooders in life. From the sibling rivalries in family homes, through our schooling years, and into our adult workplace, it often seems to be the cheats, liars, thieves, and backstabbers that go further much quicker. Those who always put themselves first or tend to grab more than their fair share of food, toys, attention, tend to nurture an innate ability to take advantage of situations or gain better opportunities through life without any remorse or inkling of guilt. Even those that simply whinge a lot or complain the loudest are noticed more and more often than not, or get their own way, which is how the old adage of a squeaky wheel getting all the oil became cemented into our psyche as one of humanity's timeless wisdoms. Even when we're being nice purely for the sake of it, and try to do the right thing by being honest, thoughtful, and sympathetic, it always seems that we're the odd one out, to the point of being left behind. That's why the good ones, like us who tend to make sure others less fortunate are treated equal, or disadvantaged folk can keep up with us, will even make sacrifices to level the playing field for them, are so often taken advantage of by those who don't care enough, so pursue their own agenda. Spending all your own energy on being kind and acting nice will always leave you morally and physically exhausted, as well as quite often overlooked, which may not be your fault, but could be your own doing. So if you're starting to wonder why kindness seems to be such a thankless endeavor, maybe it's because what we call kindness isn't empowering at all. It can actually be demoralizing, or for some, a form of self-deprecation. In which case, the right thing to do isn't always as virtuous as it seems. But is this actually what we mean when we talk about true kindness? Or is it just a hopeful way of trying to attract the things we like to receive in return? When being good comes with strings attached, it's not really selfless. It's almost like trying to coerce an unspoken deal or influencing a covert trade-off of some kind. And when that trade doesn't work out, it hurts. We're left with disappointment or even resentment. Be honest, have you ever done something nice, secretly hoping for a bit of love or appreciation in return? Most of us have. Think about someone you know who's unfailingly generous with their time. They do everything for everyone, but when they ask for help, nobody's around. It's not just bad luck, it's deeper than that. It's as if they learned unconsciously or otherwise that love gets earned through devotional service, and value comes at the cost of some kind of sacrifice. But that kind of constant giving and pandering to someone else's needs can actually push people away, if not leave you feeling spent, unrewarded, and totally alone. When you try so hard to be pleasant and agreeable that you lose sight of what you want, you learn to suppress your own opinions to toe the line, or hide how you really feel, because you don't want to antagonize or seem selfish. This in itself is enough to turn your mode of kindness into a dangerous mask that ultimately damages your own self-esteem. A mask of convenience that some of us are at risk of forgetting we are wearing. And the longer we wear it, the more disconnected we feel from others, from reality, and even from ourselves. If you've ever said yes at work just to keep the peace, or agreed to a situation or setting that you grew to regret later on, but cannot afford to renege out of fear of losing your reputation, then you're very likely spending too much vital life energy trying to be nice to please other people, which is what happens to a lot of people, and has at some time happened to most of us. And this is exactly why the stronger players in our life tend to treat that trait of kindness we exhibit as a weakness that makes us fair game for them to take advantage of, because it is our weakness. It is a subservient mode that demotes us to being inferior to them. If you accept that role of tolerating things for the sake of others, then you'll start believing your own feelings don't matter. So it's fair to say that in reality, such overt forms of kindness are by no means kind to ourselves, not beneath the surface. You could argue it's fear manifesting itself into a groveling form of sappiness that will only undermine you. Fear of rocking the boat, fear of being rejected, fear of having your opinions or needs challenged, fear that you're only valuable when you agree with others or are being useful by propping up their world in some way. Give your fire away enough, and people will start expecting it. If you're not sure whether this self-reinforcement science applies to you, here's a little test that will soon reveal the truth and let you know if you're being downtrodden by others. Say no once in a while to enabling someone's needs, or set a solid boundary concerning something you would ordinarily feel guilty about. If the person it involves gets upset that you're restricting them or complains you've changed, then you're definitely onto something. Genuine kindness doesn't crave praise or need applause. It comes from wholesome actions fueled by genuine generosity. Sometimes being kind means protecting yourself more than others, because without your own faculties, you will be in no fit state to protect others. This is why, on commercial flights, we're told to be sure to secure our own life jackets first, so we will then be better positioned to assist others. The sooner we stop equating self-sacrifice with goodness, the more capable we'll be of overcoming our victim psychology. That's how kindness transforms, when we stop chasing attention, approval, and reciprocative rewards, and start respecting our self-worth. Nothing will prove more rewarding than finding the strength and freedom to speak up, demand what we need, and only give away the powers we choose to, as and when it feels right and worthy of doing so. Let's face it, rarely will you meet someone who stopped trying to please everyone and suddenly seemed happier. As soon as they spoke up, set limits, and reclaimed their power, I bet they lost a few connections, became less accepted, but no doubt felt relieved and lighter inside. Replacing fake kindness with self-respect means you're ready to live truthfully, so stop chasing other people's approval. Only when you make a stand and take that stance will you start attracting people who really get you and deserve your friendship. True kindness is less about self-denial and more about fostering the ability to live authentically. When kindness comes from such inward truths, it brings you closer to the right people and a whole new world of valuable opportunities. You stop wasting time on one-sided relationships and start building a life more aligned with your real-life path in ways that serve your true self. If you're tired of always putting others first, it's time to take stock. If you're fed up with worrying about helping others or not upsetting someone who takes your good nature for granted, then you should be pleased to know that it's time you looked after yourself and satisfied your own needs for once. If you pull back a bit on your devotional service to others, it may free up the space needed for your own needs to be met for once. And you could also help others pursue their own sense of independence by encouraging them to rise to their own problems and deal with their own issues a bit more. Because at the end of the day, the levels of energy you devote to being nice, at the cost of looking after yourself, is not fed by some eternal fountain of goodwill that costs nothing to provide. Every time you bite your tongue and avoid the truth, it could be costing you dearly somewhere inside by not letting yourself live through your most authentic self. And perhaps by hearing these words at this stage in your life will serve your higher purpose. Perhaps by acknowledging the truth about how important it is to be truer to yourself than trying to please others will prove inspiring enough to encourage you become more aware of when you're stifling your real emotions by being nice and trying to please others, so that you can recalibrate that feeling and adjust your output accordingly. Now might be a good time to consider taking stock of how much effort or life essence your habit of being nice is costing you, and how much of your own vital energy is being suppressed in order to do so. I bet you could do with more time and energy spent on yourself. So start using your good energy to promote your own needs and travel your own path for once. Because if you don't look after your own needs first and foremost, there may not be anyone else nice enough to help you out or look after your needs for you. Kindness built on guilt and fear isolates us. Niceness built on honesty is what connects us. So maybe we should all avoid trying to be too nice and instead strive to be real, giving without losing ourselves in the process. We should care, but not upon a set of conditions. Because when we stop being kind for the wrong reasons, we start discovering what genuine kindness can do. Humanity has enough people pleasers, so we don't need more. What humanity needs is people who give unconditionally and live wholeheartedly for the right reasons, without changing who they are or compromising their authenticity.